This morning's spotlight is going to be presented by Bradley Schwartz. He's the president and founder of Greater National Advocates, a nonprofit public awareness foundation and directory for the profession of independent patient advocacy. He is an attorney who lost his limbs after communication breakdowns in a hospital ER, resulting in a failure to recognize clear warning signs of sepsis. It became Brad's personal mission to make sure every patient's voice is heard, because in his case, it wasn't. His personal medical malpractice survival story led to the formation of Greater National Advocates. GNow is a leading national online directory of independent patient advocates, and the goal of GNA is to quickly connect patients and families with independent patient advocates and to promote the profession of the necessary welcome component of modern patient care. We are so excited to have you this morning, Bradley. Please feel free to jump in now and share your program.
Well, thank you. Let me just say right off the bat, I don't know any of you, but I feel like I love every single one of you. I mean, I do this, I talk to groups all over the place, but just the vibe and the amount of stuff that it just seems like you guys are getting done. I'm really happy to be here. So that said, I am here to talk about Greater National Advocates, which is a promotional organization and the directory for the profession of independent patient advocates. And an independent patient advocate is kind of the term that has evolved to describe what these people do. You know, you go back 10, 15 years, everybody was a navigator, you know, it evolved into independent patient advocacy. And really what independent patient advocacy is skilled professionals who were working within the healthcare profession, who decided that they wanted to leave that profession, take everything that they've learned while working within the system and apply that directly toward helping patients and families. So for example, you have a social worker or a discharge planner, and they get burned out because they just get sick of working for the man, so to speak. And, you know, we hear about the burnout, not enough time to, you know, see patients. There are just a lot of people all over the country that have taken it upon themselves to say, you know what, I can do this. I can help patients and families. I can help improve care and improve medical outcomes without working in a hospital, working for an insurance company, or working for a doctor's office. Now, this became important to me, and there's a story behind it. I didn't just wake up one day and say, hey, I'm going to start a directory of independent patient advocates. No, that's not how anything works. It usually takes something horrible to like spark some kind of an idea like this. And I'll pivot off of what was said during the introduction. I am a lawyer. I've been a lawyer since 1991, and I'm the lawyer that likes to talk. Trial lawyer. I love talking to juries. It was like my favorite thing in the whole wide world to do. And the kind of law that I was practicing wasn't medical or hospital related per se, but it was injury based. And what that means is that I just really had the opportunity to talk to a lot of doctors and be very combative at times with them. In other words, you're sitting across the table at a deposition asking these tough questions about care and treatment. I'm not a doctor. I didn't go to medical school, but I will tell you that after 15 years of doing that, I got real comfortable, you know, not falling into that trap of like, oh my God, doctors are God. You just have to sit there and keep your mouth shut and do what is told. I was never the kind of person that would ever just accept care. But the bottom line is, and you know, this is the most important thing that I can get across to anybody here. And I know you guys probably all know this, but no matter who you are, no matter how much knowledge you have, no matter how much confidence you have, when you are the patient, you freeze. You can't do anything for yourself. You are stripped down, you're naked, you're wearing a gown, your butt's hanging out there, and you're laying down on the bed, and everybody is coming around talking to you, and they're like looking down on you, and you're like, you're hooked up to machines, you have needles in you. Good luck. Good luck even finding out uh what's going on. I went to the hospital and this is crazy, guys. You know, my 20-year anniversary for losing all of my limbs is pretty much right about now. It was May 8th of 2004, um, which was yesterday, when I went in to the hospital with a really bad headache. I wasn't getting any better, and I am not the kind of guy that is just gonna, say, oh, I think I'll go to the hospital for a headache. It was a little bit similar in that it was Mother's Day weekend. Everything coincided in 2004, kind of like it is um, in 2024. And I had a lot of things to do, and I was trying to be a good husband. But you know what? I was laying down on the couch and I couldn't move. And I say all these things because you got to know your body. We have to be real careful when we go into hospitals and doctors' offices because of all these things that are in their mind. You never know what kind of care you're going to end up getting. I went to a hospital that was like pretty much a half a mile away from where I was living at the time. And I will say that I always think back about when I bought the house with my family, and it was like, oh, this is cool. A great hospital right down the road, just in case anything happens. But I went there and I didn't get any care. I mean, it was beautiful out. It was that Mother's Day weekend. And when I got to the hospital, it really looked like a lot of the people had taken that weekend off. They were chatting around, laughing and joking. And I was a 37-year-old guy with a headache. How do you think they treated me? I didn't come in, with chest pains, gasping for air. I didn't have broken bones and I didn't have blood coming out of any part of my body. I was a 37-year-old guy with a headache, and they treated me like I was a 37-year-old guy with a headache. In other words, put him in, ER room number 3, give him some water, maybe give him a Tylenol. We'll see you later. And it's kind of what happened. I didn't get any antibiotics. I had a disease called bacterial meningitis that wasn't on anybody's radar. It turned into a blood infection. It became systemic. My whole body shut down. I almost died. I went into a coma for a month. I woke up late May of 2004, and they told me, hey, Brad, you're lucky to be alive, but you're going to lose all 4 of your limbs. And I did. I lost all 4 of my limbs. I went blind in one eye because nobody paid attention to me in the emergency room. And guess what? It wasn't just me there. I had my family. I had 7 or 8 people around there. Everybody just trying to get the attention of the doctors and nurses to do something. I go back after I go back to the practice of law, and I think I'm going to be able to save the world because I told you I love trying cases. People are calling me because they're like, oh my God, I have a medical issue. This guy had a medical issue. He's a lawyer. I can bond with this guy. I know that I want to call him, and my phone starts ringing off the hook, guys, because I found out that when people don't know who else to call for a medical issue, they're calling lawyers. They're calling lawyers not because they have a medical malpractice case. They're calling lawyers because their doctor is not answering the phone. The doctor can't find the chart. Insurance was supposed to cover this, but now they're not paying for it. These are not medical malpractice cases, but they are problem situations. And because the people who are calling don't know who else to call, they call the lawyer. Guess what the lawyer says? I'm sorry. It's just not what we do. I can't help you. And that was the spark that made me try and find a way to actually help people that are having medical problems that are not after the fact, that are not let's wait for the hospital or the doctor to screw everything up and sue them later. I mean, that's a great way for a med mal lawyer to make a living, but it is not an effective way of making sure that people don't get harmed in the first place. So I start looking all over the country and I find people like Nancy, who's going to be speaking in a second, and they're all over the place. And my goal with Greater National Advocates is to make them available. Is there any way I could share my screen real quick?
Yes, no problem. You can, if you have your
All
Zoom
right.
buttons at the
Cool,
bottom,
I
you can share.
got you. All right. So this is Greater National Advocates, and what it is, it's a national directory that is searchable by what type of advocate you are looking for. For example, we broke it down into categories: medical guidance, special care and aging. This stuff is all right up your alley, because in listening to before I got started here, I mean, this is not foreign to you. In fact, a lot of you are advocates, but we're making this up as we go along, so nobody knows that they're an advocate until you tell them they're an advocate. So I want to show you something here. I'll give you an example. We're going to look for a advocate who specializes in special care and aging, and let's just do Idaho and see what comes up. These are people you should know. Look at this. I know we have a end of life doula on the call today, and these are care managers. And look, you type up and you start looking for an advocate in South Florida, you're going to get 40 or 50 of these folks. But we're in Idaho. I'm sorry, but that's why I'm here, because we need more, and we need you, and we need everybody to know about what an independent patient advocate is and what they can do. They take all of the knowledge that they've learned working within healthcare, and they apply it to what they're doing now, which is working directly for patients and families. So here's an example of how one of the profiles looks, what they can do. And if anybody were to be interested in, taking your skills and making yourself available and getting the word out there, very easy to do so right here. It's an application process. And I'd welcome any of you to do it. I'm going to be around to answer questions, but right now I know that Nancy Ruffner, who is an advocate, she's got a lot to say herself right now. So I wanted to say thank you for letting me speak, and hopefully if you have questions, we'll talk about them at the end. All right.